Hi, good morning. It's Jessie. I'm back again. And today I want to talk to you about the importance of laws and the dangers of being subjective. Okay? I'm going to start off by giving you an example from the Jews, okay? The Jews keep Shabbat. That means from Friday night to Saturday night, they don't run machinery. They don't do work, they don't drive cars, They walk to synagogue. They have services there. That's their church, right? But sometimes there are Jews who don't live near the synagogue. And if they want their children to have the experience, they have to drive to the synagogue, right? Now, what's the problem with this? Because the family's logic is, I want my children to learn Torah. I want them to have the experience of community. So I live 40 minutes away by car. I have to drive, But the rabbi says that sounds logical, but it isn't. That you can't violate Shabbat in this way. You can't violate the laws of Shabbat in this way. And what's the issue with violating the laws, right? Well, in Judaism, their covenant with God is based on keeping Shabbat. It is the condition of their covenant. So if you violate the laws of Shabbat, you violate your covenant and you nullify your position in Judaism, right? That sounds pretty severe, right? And I do believe that not everybody who violates Shabbat is like excommunicated from Judaism. But they try to help people to understand the importance of the law. Because when you get into this business of justifying why you can't keep the law, you get yourself in a bit of trouble. This one law right here, this one law, the laws of Shabbat, are the foundation of all of Judaism. It's the condition on the covenant. If you don't keep this one, how can you claim to be a Jew? How can you claim to be God's chosen people? I use this example for you because it demonstrates how important the law is and how people make justifications that seem reasonable for why they can't keep the law, but it absolutely should not be listened to. I know, like in Christianity, there's these verses in the Bible that talk about, who wouldn't go and help their donkey, on Shabbat, But actually, in the laws of Shabbat, Shabbat is allowed to be paused to preserve life, right? To preserve life. If someone is having a life or death emergency, you can drive someone to the hospital, But once you get them to the hospital, you got to walk home. You can pause Shabbat until you subdue the threat, whatever the threat is, and whatever means you have to use to subdue the threat. You're allowed. You're allowed because it's more important that you should preserve life, right? Now, would you say it's more important that someone preserves their life by being a part of the community? And is that a way of preserving life, to drive to Shabbat on Friday night to Saturday? No, because there's other accommodations that can be made, right? Like, given that this has been a struggle in preserving Judaism for so many years, they have all these wonderful stories of these great men who shared Shabbat because they had no place to go, of people who opened the doors to them for Shabbat so that they could, have the meal and say the prayers and just enjoy the community together, that they might not spend it alone in a dark field by themselves, right? So that's where you begin new traditions, where you begin like hosting Shabbat for other families who live 40 minutes away by car. Because if you if you don't like make these accommodations, hang on. If you don't make these accommodations for the law, so that the law can be kept, if you don't make the law easy to be kept, and easy is a funny word, but if you don't make the law accessible to your members, then the law loses its validity, because we live in a society where we don't bind together in communities so much anymore, where we are dispersed, So where we find that segregation was a good thing, because it preserved us in our communities where we were, even though it had all these drawbacks of, some people were oppressed. It was a good thing because it preserved communities where they were. It kept people together, and it's a dangerous thing for us all to be split apart so far. How are we supposed to be alike? Yeah, we can have unity within diversity, but there is nothing like proximity to enable that traditions are kept and passed down to our children. The traditions of our ancestors are kept and passed down in our children in a way where it's not something that we just go to. It's not something that we get in the car and drive 40 minutes to be a part of, but it's something that lives and breathes all around us, It's something that is active, It's a way of life that we're learning here, And as much as it pains me to say, I should say, when we desegregated our nation, we lost some valuable things. I'm not a fan of racism. I'm not a fan of segregating bathrooms and segregating public schools. I'm not a fan of that stuff. But these communities, they need to be preserved, and they need to be respected, Because when we lose our cultural identity, when we're lost and we're grabbing at straws because we can't see who we are, that's where the enemy comes in, and they tell us who we are, They tell us everything. It's a lawless world out there when you're not amongst your own. When you have to get in to fit in, it's a lawless world out there. They contradict so many things, Okay, so we're talking about the importance of keeping laws and the danger of being ruled by subjectivity, okay? I'm going to keep us on point here. I have a friend, I'll tell you that the schools do a lot of things, but I want to demonstrate something for you, because I've had many beasts in my life, and every beast was the same way. Every single beast. They bring you into submission under them, right? And they do this by learning about you. They do this by stalking you. That they do this by getting close to you, but not by having a relationship with you. It's not done by having a relationship with you. Because if it was a relationship with you, they would appreciate your time, and they would want to share themselves with you, but they don't. They want to remain objective in the relationship. They always want to remain objective in the relationship. And it's funny when we say that the beast is the one who remains objective in the relationship, right? Remaining objective in their relationship allows them to do so many things to you. It allows them to test things out, and then you're bishop or your priest or your rabbi will stand up and say, you're just going through a test. And it's like it's the system of this beast who remains objectively detached from you while bringing you into submission to them. And the funny thing about the beast, if he can't bring you into submission to him, if he can't make you do everything he wants you to do, he'll attack you. You know, he'll mock you and be like, you're just scared, you know. Oh, you think you're better than me? The beast has all these, like, little catchphrases to move you. All these gimmicks, that's a new hot word right now. But it's got all these little catchphrases to make you do what they want to do. So he's remaining objective, right? But you're in submission to him. And he's dictating laws for you and making you do what he wants you to do by any means necessary. And if he can't make you do what he wants you to do, then he'll go through all the people around you to break you. Because you're going to bow, whether it's willingly or by being broken, you know. Like, just leave me alone, don't hit me anymore, you know. He's very skilled in getting you to bow, right? And here's the thing. Oh, and if you should ever choose to leave the beast, let me just remind you of this. If he even catches, like, a wind that he's losing his grip, that you might be going somewhere, that you might be moving on with your life, this beast will set you up. This beast will show up and try to look like Mr. Wonderful, Prince Charming. It will try to earn its way back into your life. But you got to be careful with old beastie here. Because at the same time they're doing this, and mind you, you're not married to them. You're just giving them a chance, right? Because they're proving themselves over there. But at the same time they're doing this, this beast is also running around, ruining your reputation, sabotaging you, and making it so you have no place to go. So when they discard you, because it's not about you leaving them anymore, when they discard you now, when they have you all cut off and they throw you away, you're left in the gutter with no one, nothing, no money, no friends, nothing whatsoever, right? So this beast here, I know him well. Been knowing him my whole life. If they can't control you, they will kill you. Try to leave them, they will ruin you. Okay, why do I tell you this? Because I used to have a friend who was a teacher, a real good friend. Pardon me. She worked in a city district, whereas I worked in a suburban district. And one of her administrators came to work in the district where I was, and she asked me if I knew him. And I was like, I haven't met him yet. And so when I did finally meet him, I was like, oh, we have a mutual friend. And then he was like, oh, what's she up to these days? And I was like, oh, she's looking to move out here closer to the suburbs. And he was like, oh, that's great. I did the same thing, you know. But when I told her what I had said, she got extremely upset. She's like, you shouldn't have did that. You don't know these people. You can't tell them I'm leaving. You can't give them a hint I'm quitting. It doesn't matter that he did the same thing. He moved to the suburbs. If he had any contact with anybody that she was under, she would face major blowback because they kill you if they can't keep you. When they have you under their thumb, you can't get out from under it. And so when I tell you that it's not necessarily the teachers who are evil, when I tell you that they're brain dead, mindless robots, and I'm not like speaking derogatively of them. It's that they've been subdued. They've had the strings attached to them. They know if they don't serve, they get attacked. They know if they try to leave, they get attacked. They know the kind of privilege and power that they sit under, that there is no means of escape, you know. These people not only run education, they run the legal system, you know. They run with your doctors. They run everywhere, you know. They got no problem inserting false documents into files, you know. They got no problem making you look like you're somebody you're not. I didn't know back then, you know, this was 15 years ago. I didn't know back then why she was so upset with me. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. You know, I still looked at education through rose-colored glasses. But once, you know, they took my glasses off, when they blacked my eyes, you know, once they started targeting me the way that they targeted me, I got some understanding of why she couldn't even give a hint that she was looking for employment closer to home. Because mind you, she lived further away from the city than I lived. She had to drive an hour to work every day, you know, and city traffic, whew, it's rough, and there's always construction. No. It's horrible. You know, even if the job was good, the traffic is horrible. Sometimes it's more than an hour drive, you know? And to not be able to give the hint that you're leaving, to fear retaliation. You got a beast there. And we should all know, because if we all know, then my friend don't have to be afraid if someone gets wind that she might be leaving, you know? And we don't have to be so much afraid of them, you know? If we take back some of our trust and open our eyes to the schemes that they're doing, if we stop following like mindless idiots afraid that they might target us next, because there is strength in our numbers, because they get their power from us. If we take our power back, then they have to behave. It's not about killing them. It's about making them behave. Right? Am I wrong? Do you get what I'm saying? They need to behave over there. They need to stop acting like sociopaths. And if they can't stop acting like sociopaths, then they need to be unseated, and somebody who is not a sociopath needs to take up the job. Because people, it's important to understand this thing. It's important to be ruled by laws. If you're not ruled by laws, you're ruled subjectively. You're ruled by opinions. It's dangerous to be ruled by opinions, because when you're ruled by opinions, someone can ruin your reputation and kill you. When you're ruled by opinions, they preserve their reputation, the beast does, preserves its reputation by making sure that it has everyone under submission, and if it doesn't have everyone under submission, then it attacks that person by ruining their reputation, and they will fabricate stories. You know, they will tell lies. They will, you know, doctor files. They will fabricate folders on you, you know. They're nasty. They're nasty in this way. And the thing is, it's the way that the order is all around the world. People are like this. And what you don't understand is we can choose better. These are our gates behaving like this. Well, we are the gates of the gates. We are the thing that they are trying to hold back. And if we stand up and say, no, nope, we will not be ruled subjectively. If you have not given this person a trial, we will not kill them. We will not assist in the persecution of our brothers, you know. We will not run your smear campaign for you. We will not attack people just because they're not submitted to you. You know, there's a way of getting people in line that doesn't require rising up with a sword, you know. And they, in order to preserve their lives, will fall in line if we just rise up and stand up and say, no. See, we can't be ruled subjectively. We can't be ruled by opinions. We don't run on smear campaigns. We don't ruin people's reputations because we understand when people do this, they are not ruled by law. It's bad when you're sitting in a position of power and you're not ruled by law. It's bad when you got a whole book of policy and ethics and blah, 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 but you're still not ruled by law. You're ruled on reputations. Or you rule through reputations, And you kill anyone who doesn't lift you up and put you on the pedestal of, oh goodness, what would they call that? Just the most best trusted individual, just the most wonderful person, just the most helpful person, just the best, most honest, kindest, Can't fall for that nonsense. We got to be ruled by law. And we got to lift up people who lift up laws, who teach us laws. These people do everything they do in the dark. It's dangerous. There's no justice there. It is a lynch mob, We don't want to be ruled like that. Trust me, I've been killed by that, It's no fun getting lynched. And again, I'm not black, but I have been lynched, And if you take offense to that, you should take offense to the people running the lynch mobs, Because it is what they do. They don't take your breath. They do take your life. They do cut you off from opportunity. They do have your neighbors condemning you. They do have everybody talking about you, no one talking to you. They take your life. With a mob, it isn't justice. Just because slavery happened way back when, just because, some people attack people for the color of their skin, it doesn't mean you hold the monopoly on the word. When you have a group of people like this running justice in the dark, by their own opinion, subjectively, when they set standards like this of we kill anyone who doesn't bow, we team up with other people, we attack, we ruin reputations, we cut off life, we make life impossible for them. We make sure everybody talks about them, nobody talks to them. They are a lynch mob. Do not get offended by the word, because it is a loaded word. And these are loaded people. And even if they look clean cut, even if they look like nice people, even if they're showing you a smile and going, oh no, we wouldn't do that. Even when they're acting this way, you understand these are appearances. This is giving off the appearance, but there is no substance to it. And that's why you can't trust people just because they smile in your face. It's why you can't trust people just because they look nice. You got to be aware that the devil presents himself as an angel of light. You got to be aware of this, because if you're not, you'll fall for the appearances and get yourself hooked in with this lynch mob who suppresses you. They suppress you. You're only allowed to say what they want you to say. You can't learn things for yourself because you have learned your whole life to give them the answers that they are looking for, to please them. You understand? You have been conditioned in this way. And it's why you protect them so. You've been conditioned in this way from a young age to understand that you do what they say, you stay in line, you don't talk back, you respect the teacher, you trust in their authority, that they are always on a righteous cause, Don't be stupid. Don't be ruled by your opinions. Learn to be ruled by the law, and then they can't suppress you. They can't use your neighbor against you. They can't use you against your neighbor. I'm not even saying you have to be a Jew. I'm telling you by American law. They can't use your neighbor against you. They can't suppress you. They can't take away the rights that your Constitution guarantees you. It is so important to keep with the law. the monsters of the past, every monster of the past, they have gotten their agendas through on the backs of teachers and doctors and trusted professionals. Every monster in the past has invalidated the law, has got people fighting with their opinions over what's right and what's wrong, and they tell you what's right and they tell you what's wrong. So you're in the middle of their little argument over should abortion be legal or should it be illegal. You're in the middle of their argument, and did you ever sit to ask yourself, what does the law say about it? Well, the law doesn't say whether it should be or shouldn't be. Why doesn't the law say? Because it's real important that the law remains objective. The law has to be objective to preserve itself. Because if the law gets subjective, then the nation falls. Laws are what preserve nations. So now when you see that the law used to be objective, and people used to be subjective, then now we have people who are objective, a bunch of people who are objective, and we have the law that has been subjective. Now, help me out here, because my Jews always complain about replacement theology, where they think that, Christians are replacing Jews as a chosen people, But that argument over there is not so important to me. The argument over here, replacement theology, which one are we supposed to remain objective? Is it supposed to be the people, or is it supposed to be the law? Now, psychology, I had my undergrad in psychology. They teach us to be objective. In the professional world, we're taught to remain objective. However, relationships heal. Relationships offer protection. In this objectiveness, we're cutting off necessary bonds of community that need to be made. And in all this division, we have this world completely unyoked, unapologetically independent, doing whatever they want to do, without limits, without the limits of relationship, because we've turned everything objective. People are not supposed to be objective. The law is supposed to be objective. Now, when the people get objective, they start undermining the law with subjective things like, oh, we can't keep Shabbat because we have to drive for 40 minutes. We start undermining the law with subjective things like, oh, she's a criminal, she deserves it. Oh, she's a lesbian, she deserves it. Oh, she isn't an interracial relationship, she deserves it. Oh, she's a drunk, a drug addict, whatever. I never drank or did drugs in my life. She deserves it. They know boxes are checked that will bring condemnation on someone. And they check these boxes for you, and they make it look true on the testimony of witnesses. They undermine the law by working iniquity. When you check these boxes with false witnesses to make someone appear as they are not, you are working iniquity. A nation that works iniquity brings the rebuke of God. Remember I said we got a duty to warn. So I'm sitting here trying to tell you how to get right, how to come out of wrong, how to recognize where wrong is. Telling you got to get back to being legal people. You got to get back to being people of the law. I'm sitting here telling you this because I got a duty to warn. Because there is a God on the throne, Because he says if you don't tell the people, if you don't help the people, if you don't turn the hearts of the father back to the children, the hearts of the children back to their father, then I'll come and smite the earth and I'll wipe out everyone. God will take you out, How do I know? Because I broke through. How do I know? Because prosperity is linked. Because I've learned this. I have learned. The danger in suppressing the people, prosperity is linked. So you think you're suppressing a good people who used to be loyal, who used to be trust, who used to be loving, who used to be helpful. But you come in here, you suppress them, and all that love, it turns to contempt. And when they tear about each other, we can only do this for so long before we say, we're not the problem, this won't work. And we look at you and we say, you the problem. And we comfort you. It's the thing. You want to be saved? You ain't afraid of God? Be afraid of the people you're suppressing. Because eventually, somebody will rise up. Eventually, somebody will get to you. Eventually, the chickens come home to roost. You reap what you sow. You do all this stuff. Your lot in life is to be filled with guilt and shame. I'm here to fill your cup. What can I say? Just turn away from it. Turn away from it. Let it go. Repent. Go back to the law. Start teaching people right. Do it before they revolt, and you might preserve your life. Keep going on the path you're in, and it's going to be over for you. And not even God can save you. Understand that. And that's all I got to say for today. Y'all have a good day. God bless.